Hey everyone, welcome to the Zone of Tech. I'm Daniel, and it's that time of the year again when flagship smartphones are about to be released. The HTC One M9, the LG G4, the LG G Flex 2, the Samsung Galaxy S6, and much more. And if you've been a subscriber for a while, you know that I have a pretty famous series called Final Leaks and Rumors, in which I talk in detail about how a future product will be like. So far the series has gotten over 15 million views. Over 15 million of you have seen my Final Leaks and Rumors video, which is insane. And since Samsung has officially confirmed that the Galaxy S6 is going to be unveiled next month, well, I think it's time for another Final Leaks and Rumors video. This time covering the Samsung Galaxy S6. Enjoy the video. So in this video, I'll be covering the design, the display, the performance, the software, the camera, finally the release date and the price of the brand new Samsung Galaxy S6. So starting off with the design, when you say Samsung, what exactly do you first think of? Actually, let's put it this way. HTC One M8, iPhone 6, Samsung Galaxy S5. What do you first think of? Premium build, and not so premium build. And it's been like this since, well, since forever. Samsung devices have always had a cheap build when compared to its high-end competitors. But luckily, Samsung is completely aware of this, since they've introduced their first metal phone, the Galaxy Alpha, in August. Although it was not entirely made out of metal, only the edges were, but still, huge improvement in terms of the build quality. Then came the Note 4, which again featured the same metal edges like the Galaxy Alpha, so you can clearly see that Samsung is working hard on fixing its cheap build reputation. As for the upcoming Galaxy S6, we have three options in terms of its design. So option number one, which is also the most probable one, is a Note 4-like design. So plastic build, but with metal edges. Option 2 is to have an iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S-like design. So glass on both the front and the back with again metal edges. I personally think that this will look the best, although you'll most probably get the back covered in fingerprints after just a few seconds of usage. But still, looks awesome. And finally, option number 3 is to have a full aluminum build, so something like the HTC One M8 or the iPhone 6. Although Samsung is apparently having some production issues with what's presumed to be their first full aluminum unibody phone. But definitely let me know in the comment section down below which design option you'd like to see the most. The Galaxy S6 is also going to be significantly thinner than the Galaxy S5. So expect it to be as thin or maybe just a hint thicker than the thinnest flagship smartphone out there, the iPhone 6, which comes at an impressive 6.9mm thin. Now the Galaxy S4 came in at only 7.9mm thick, which was actually one of the thinnest smartphones at that time, but the Galaxy S5, however, was, well, thicker, coming in at 8.1mm thick. Now this was because of that thick port seal, which was needed in order for the Galaxy S5 to be waterproof. And speaking of water and dust proof, well, you can say goodbye to taking a shower with your Samsung Galaxy S6, because the Galaxy S6 is not going to be waterproof. So since they're planning on making the Galaxy S6 as thin as possible, they're going to remove any port seals that would simply make it thicker. However, there is a version of the Galaxy S6 which is going to be waterproof, and that is the Galaxy S6 Active. So Samsung has had an active variant of their Galaxy S lineup since the Galaxy S4. And the Active is essentially a tougher version of their S phones. One which you can submerge, drop, step on, and all that kind of stuff. And speaking of different Galaxy S6 variants, there's going to be another one besides the Galaxy S6 Active, which is really interesting. And that one's called the Galaxy S Edge. So just like the Note 4 Edge, which came with a curved display on one side, the Galaxy S Edge is also going to come with a curved display, but this time on both sides. And the good news is that the Galaxy S Edge is 100% coming. So Samsung's official event invitation leaked what it appears to be a Samsung Galaxy S Edge. All they showed was this really weird curved line, which all by itself had no meaning. But if you line this up with a Note 4 Edge, well, you got a match. And besides this, the HTML code on Vodafone's website shows both an upcoming Galaxy S6 as well as an upcoming Galaxy S Edge. And imagine just holding a phone in your hand that's curved on both sides. That thing is gonna be incredibly slippery. The obvious way to solve that is with a case. Wait, how would you even? So if you go to websites like eBay or Amazon and type Samsung Galaxy S6, you'll get quite a lot of results. Case results in that case. Haha. Some of them have already been released, and some of them have yet to be released. But all of them point out to a radical redesign in the Galaxy S lineup. So far we have the Galaxy S, the Galaxy S Active, and the Galaxy S Edge. But there's actually going to be a fourth Galaxy S6 variant called the Galaxy S6 Mini, which is essentially going to be an exact clone of the Galaxy S6, only smaller and dumber. So some really nerfed specs essentially. Moving on to section number 2, we have the display. So the Galaxy S5 came with a 5.1 inches 1080p display, but there's actually another version of the Galaxy S5 which most of you probably don't know about, the Korean Galaxy S5 LTE model. And that one came with a 2K display, 3GB instead of 2GB of RAM, and also came with a Snapdragon 805 instead of the Snapdragon 801 CPU. So in terms of the display, definitely expect the Galaxy S6 to come with a 2K display. And in terms of the display size, some rumors suggest that it's going to come with a 5-inch display, while other rumors suggest that it's going to come with a display between 5.3 and 5.5 inches. Now, I personally believe that it's going to be a 5-inch display, since for anything larger than that, well, you have the Note 4. So a 5-inch display with a resolution of 2560 by 1440, which would translate to 587 ppi, a complete overkill. However, even if it does indeed come with a 5.3 to 5.5 inch display, 5.3 most likely, they're most likely going to reduce the bezels of the display while keeping the same footprint. So you won't be getting a larger phone, you'll still be getting the same size as before, only with a larger display. Next up, performance. So in terms of the CPU, we have two options. Option number 1 is the latest and greatest chip from Qualcomm, so the Snapdragon 810 CPU, which is a 64-bit octa-core CPU, or the Exynos 7420, which, same as the Snapdragon 810, it's a 64-bit octa-core CPU. Now, the Exynos 7420 is a custom chip made by Samsung, and by the way, this is not actually an octa-core CPU. This is what we call a fake octa-core CPU. So the way it works is that it actually has two quad-core CPUs. So it has a low-power 1.3 GHz quad-core CPU, and then it also has a 1.9 GHz high-performance quad-core CPU. So when you're simply doing some light work like browsing the web, checking your emails, it's going to use the low-energy 1.3 GHz CPU to conserve energy. However, when you're playing a 3D intensive game, it will automatically switch to the high-performance 1.9 GHz one. And the reason why I call this a fake octa-core CPU is because the two CPUs are never used at the same time. So although you have 8 cores essentially, only a maximum of 4 can be used at the same time. Now apparently there are some overheating issues with the Snapdragon 810, which means that you'll most probably see the Exynos 7420 in your Galaxy S6, at least until those issues with the Snapdragon 810 are fixed. Now in terms of the GPU, it all depends on the chip. So if somehow we're going to get a Snapdragon 810 inside, then we're also going to get the Adreno 430 GPU, which will increase the graphics performance by up to 30%, as well as give you support for 4K streams. As for the RAM, expect to see 3 GB of RAM, same as on the Note 4. So since we now have a 64-bit chip inside, as well as a 64-bit operating system, so Android Lollipop, you can essentially have over 3 GB of RAM. So on paper, the Galaxy S6 will indeed support 4 GB of RAM, and even more than that. But in reality, I only expect to see, again, as I said, 3 GB of RAM, since the Galaxy S5 already came with 2 GB of RAM, at least the international version. So 3 GB of RAM will give you a slight boost in multitasking. However, I do expect to see 4 GB of RAM in the next version of Galaxy Note. Moving on to section number 4, we have the software. So in terms of the software, the Galaxy S6 will come with the latest version of Android Lollipop. Now, in terms of the user experience, some well-known problems with Samsung devices are lag and bloatware. And both problems come from Samsung's TouchWiz. So in case you don't know what TouchWiz is, it's essentially an overlay on top of Android made by Samsung, which not only changes the look and feel of your device, but also adds tons of features and apps. The only problem with this is that Samsung added way too more. Now, just to give you an idea, my Samsung Galaxy S4 came with 6 GB of bloatware. 6 GB out of 16. So out of 16 GB, I could only use 8. This is because the operating system took 2 GB, and the remaining 6 were taken by TouchWiz and bloatware apps, which I never used. And all of this made Samsung devices not just without enough storage space, but also extremely laggy. Reason why I was forced to install stock Android on my Galaxy S4, which by the way now runs buttery smooth. So this problem will apparently be removed from the Galaxy S6, which means that the S6 will either feature stock Android, hopefully, or a really thin skin, something like HTC's Sense 6, for example. As for the extra features that the Galaxy S6 will come with, one of them might be a payment system to rival Apple's Apple Pay. S-Pay? Maybe. Apart from this, the fingerprint sensor will also get a major overhaul. So the fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy S5 was bad. Like, really bad. It only accepted a vertical swipe, so if you didn't properly swipe your finger or you had it at a different angle, you were out of luck. Luckily, Samsung is working on implementing the same fingerprint technology that Apple uses, so a touch-based one. Meaning that all you have to do is hold your finger on the home button, and no matter what orientation your finger is, it will unlock the device. In terms of the battery, expect one between 2800 and 3200 mAh, which is probably going to be non-removable. So if it's going to feature a unibody design or a glass back, then it's definitely going to be non-removable. Otherwise, if it's going to feature a Note 4-like design, so metal edges but a plastic back, then you'll be able to switch it out. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you prefer? Do you prefer ditching the removable battery for a more premium design, for a unibody, aluminum, or a glass back design? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, expect to see some sort of wireless charging on the S6, as well as a fast charging technology like we saw with the Note 4. So with the Note 4, you can charge your device from 0 to 50% in about 20 to 30 minutes. So expect to see something similar on the Galaxy S6. Next up, the camera. So Samsung devices have always had a really good camera, and expect nothing different from the S6. It's apparently going to use the exact same sensor as on the Note 4, which at the moment has the best camera out of all Samsung devices. And even overall, for a smartphone, it's one of the best cameras out there. So expect to see a 20 megapixel back-facing camera, 4K video recording, maybe even 4K DCI, who knows, hopefully, and hopefully 4K at a more stable frame rate. Samsung is also planning on introducing OIS, or optical image stabilization, on the Galaxy S6, something like we have on the Note 4. So expect to see that, as well as a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. But are we still going to get that heart rate sensor on the back of the phone? Well, to be honest, it's useless. From those of you who own a Galaxy S5, let me know in the comment section down below how many of you use that on a regular basis. And the reason why I said that it's useless is because you can essentially measure your heart rate with any smartphone you want. As long as it has a flash on the back, you can do that. And it works the same as with a heart rate sensor. But you know, in the end, extra features mean extra money. And finally, moving on to the final section of this video, which is the release date and the price. So in terms of the release date, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Samsung has officially sent out the invites for the unveiling of the Galaxy S6, which is going to be on the 1st of March in Barcelona at the MWC, so the Mobile World Congress. And in terms of when you'll be able to purchase this, it's going to be somewhere around April, when this thing will be available worldwide. Also coming in April is my full in-depth review of the Galaxy S6, so be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in seeing that video. And speaking of purchasing it, 32 gigabytes might finally be the baseline model, since up until now all we got was 16 gigabytes. So 32 and 64 gigabyte model will most probably be the models you'll be able to choose from, with the possibility of expanding that storage even further with up to 128 extra gigabytes with a micro SD card. In terms of the colors, the Galaxy S6 will apparently come in dark blue, blue-green, gold, and white. As for the price, expect something between $750 and £600 in the UK price range. Now this would be off contract and obviously with a baseline model. So there you go, these were all the leaks and rumors I had for you for the upcoming Galaxy S6. But let me know what you guys think about the Galaxy S6, let me know what features you would like to see in it. Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, I'm working on some more final leaks and rumors videos just like this one, but with different devices, obviously. So feel free to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in seeing those videos, as well as turn on email notifications so that you're notified when I upload a new video. And as I mentioned before, full in the review of the Samsung Galaxy S6 coming soon to the channel nearby. Unpacked, that is. So thank you all for watching this video. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you in my next one. Unpacked, signing out. Cheers.